It was an ancient Native American legend that said, when someone was about to die, the Reaper comes to collect souls. This Reaper had a weakness for honeycorn cakes, a traditional sweet treat. If you kept throwing honeycorn cakes on the ground, the Reaper, distracted by his hunger, would forget to collect souls, allowing the person to live a little longer. When I was just a child, one night, my uncle was on his deathbed. My mother and aunt stood by his side, continually tossing honeycorn cakes onto the floor. As they did this, the soul guardian, an old man draped in a feathered cloak, stood by, chanting ancient prayers. The room was adorned with mystical symbols glowing faintly. I, being a curious kid, secretly grabbed a cake and took a bite. Suddenly a chill ran through my body, and I collapsed with a scream. When I woke up, I found myself among many people with blank expressions, walking down a dark path. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves and eerie whispers, making my skin crawl. Just as fear gripped me, my uncle caught up to me.
Keo, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. Go back.
He said, pushing me away. I blacked out again. When I woke up, I was back in my bed, the strange whispers still echoing in the room. I told my mother what had happened, and my family was terrified. For the next few days, I had severe diarrhea, passing black, tar-like substances. Every time it felt like I could still hear those eerie whispers. This year, I have reached the age of 105, making me the longest living member of my tribe. My name is Jake, but because I'm always fiddling with a lighter, everyone calls me Sparky. That day, after work, a few friends and I decided to hit the bar. I had this prank I love to play on bus drivers, and tonight seemed like the perfect night to do it again. My buddy Brad was all in, so we headed to the bus stop together. The last 720 bus slowly pulled up. Inside, there was only the driver. I got on and dropped $7.50 into the fare box. "That's for 3, I said. The driver, wearing dark sunglasses, hesitated.
How many of you?
3 of us.
Brad chimed in. The driver's hand shook a little. As the bus started moving, I began chattering to the empty seats in front of me, putting on a show. Brad joined in, laughing and talking as well. The bus swayed more than usual, and the driver kept glancing nervously in the rearview mirror, wiping sweat from his forehead. I played with my lighter, watching the driver's reaction with satisfaction. Suddenly the flame lit up, and in its flicker, I saw a girl with long hair sitting in the front seat, facing away. I quickly extinguished the lighter, but Brad was still laughing. I forced a chuckle and lit the lighter again. There she was, the back of her head visible. I shouted, "Stop the bus!" The driver hit the brakes hard, almost sending Brad and me tumbling. We rushed to the driver, ready to yell at him, but he slowly turned, lifting his right hand to remove his sunglasses. His eye sockets were empty, dark voids staring at us. We screamed, kicked the door open, and bolted. I ran a short distance before realizing Brad wasn't with me. Gathering my courage, I went back to find him. I called his name, but there was no answer. I crouched to look under the bus. Nothing. Climbing back onto the bus, I found it empty. No Brad, no driver, no girl. Confused, I looked around. This wasn't our city at all. I looked back at the bus and froze. It had transformed into an old-fashioned hearse. A portrait of the long-haired girl was displayed inside the driver's cabin. The air grew icy, and time seemed to stand still. I felt an inexplicable fear and couldn't believe my eyes. I sprinted back to the city, not sure how I found my way. Once in the familiar hustle and bustle, I stopped to call Brad again. He answered.
Sparky, where did you go? You said you were heading to the bathroom and never came back.
I live in an old apartment building without an elevator on the 3rd floor. One summer evening, I left home at 8 o'clock p.m. Remember this time. I went out as usual, descending 2 flights. The ground floor light had been out for ages, leaving the hallway often pitch dark. I cursed under my breath and kept going. After another flight, it got even darker, but I was stunned to find more stairs below me. I didn't realize the gravity of the situation yet, muttering, "This is nuts," and continued downward, though my nerves were starting to fray. After several more flights, still no exit. Sweat beaded on my forehead. Only then did I think to check which floor I was on. Each apartment has a number plate above the door, so I nervously approached the nearest one. In the dim light, I strained to read it. B402. This couldn't be possible. I've lived in this apartment building for 5 years, and there is no basement level. I peered down the staircase, unable to see anything clearly, but faintly, it seemed the stairs continued spiraling downward, as if they had no end. Just then, a scream pierced the silence from below. Another scream followed. My last shred of courage evaporated. I turned and bolted up the stairs, not stopping until I was gasping for breath. I checked the nearest door, B202, basement level 2. The screams had stopped and my panic eased slightly. Knowing I only needed to climb 2 more floors to reach ground level, curiosity got the better of me. I reached out to touch a door. It felt cold and slimy. At the same moment, a faint click sounded from inside, as if something was trying to open the door. I screamed and ran up, tripping in my haste and blacking out. I awoke to the noise of neighbors returning home. For a moment, my mind was blank. Then I realized I was standing in front of my own door. I unlocked it and went inside, noticing my hand felt strange. I opened my palm to find it covered in moss. I knew where I got it, from that door. But whose door would have moss unless it hadn't been opened in ages? This wasn't a hallucination. Hallucinations don't leave moss on your hand. I checked my watch. 12:30 a.m. I had left at 8 o'clock p.m. I swore I spent less than 10 minutes in that dark stairwell. So where did those 4.5 hours go? In the following days, I scoured the library for similar accounts, but found nothing. I wrote letters to various newspapers and renowned scientists seeking answers, but there was no response. To this day, I am haunted by the belief that those stairs descend directly into the very depths of hell itself.